Scott, SJWellFire.com. Final days report, episode 251. Today's Fishcast, we're going to unlock why mega corporations don't care about losing revenue or market share with woke policies. What are the new economic systems like universal basic income, central bank digital currencies, and ESG policies that are the drivers behind this really strange marketing behavior? How does this link to the NASA's PR play to prevent a solar storm internet collapse for a month, if not longer? What a great way, my friends, to ruin the financial system to bring in central bank digital currencies. But the first article I want to talk about, and again, if you follow our ministry, we've always said the US dollar is going to be dethroned. BRICS nations win. This really caught my eye. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says to expect a gradual decline in the dollar's share of global reserves. The US dollar is being dethroned, but the greenback remains dominant. She goes on to say, folks, they're telling you this is a trumpet we need to blow. And you need to go to SJWellFire.com if you're new to central bank digital currencies. Just type that in the search engine there, or CBDC, the big one that was actually pulled off my own website, Mark of the Beast Money, IMF new central bank digital coin, run by AI. It's part of this beast system. And people think that countries are autonomous. 90% of countries are working on a central bank digital currency, folks. Same people. This is an interesting time to be alive. But again, I worked in marketing for major CPG companies and some small mom and pops. But these big CPG companies I worked for, you would never do a commercial that would lose market share or revenue to the extent that Bud Light and Target have done. The elite don't care. These scumbags don't care. They own everything. Bud Light sales show no signs of rebounding after boycott, new data reveals. I'm sure some people at the corporate headquarters care, but you think about Target. Target has been doing this nonsense forever. I remember when Target allowed for trans people to go into the bathrooms, perverts were going in and raping girls. I mean, what a sick, sick policy. And they didn't change, right? Target shares downgraded again on sales concerns. These are demonic companies with demonic policies. But you have to peel back the onion and ask why. Why would a corporation destroy itself? Well, it's all by design, my friends. Let's go back to this article from the Trilateral Commission. This has been weighing on me. Let's read. The speaker who cannot be identified according to the commission rules went on 3 decades of globalization defined as integrated free market-based deflationary has been replaced by what will be a multi-decade period of globalization defined as fragmented, not free market-based, but industrial policy-based and structurally inflationary. This is the first year, 2023 is the year one of this new global order, financial system. So it's not a free market and it's industrial policy based. So that begs the question, what is the industrial policy? What could be driving this? Folks, it's this ESG nonsense, environmental, social governance. And when you peel back the onion, environmental has to do with that carbon footprint, the sustainability. You're going to have all these trackers involved with this. They're going to put mom and pops out of business. This is green communism. Then you think about the social. You have the human rights. Human rights means do as you wilt, right? It means perversion, diversity and inclusion. You want to be a tree? You want to marry a tree? Fine. I mean, that's where this whole thing's going. Community impact. I remember hearing some of my Black friends that really dove deep into Black Lives Matter. They're like, the founders are Marxist communist. Good night, my friends. This is a lawlessness time. And then you have governance as well, data privacy. When I read this, my spirit was like, is this governance going to be hooking all transaction and everything basically into this artificial beast system? These KPIs, these tax transparencies. So when you think about this, if all of a sudden the economy is collapsed, the dollar is dethroned as the global currency, they launch central bank digital currencies where everything can be tracked, right? It can be geolocated. It can have a timestamp on it. Only woke corporations that actually participate can accept that money potentially. I'm just talking about programmable voucher scenarios. We've covered that often in a lot of different VCasts, but then the government is getting involved in ESG. So will there be incentives? So since the government and the central bankers just print money, right? They will probably reward and incentivize corporations, keep them afloat. Even if their sales are going way, way down, they'll just keep them afloat with incentives. You have to think through industrial policies. What does that mean? It's ESG, my friends, or they'll give them tax breaks. And it happened with Amazon getting subsidized with every package that they shipped. Amazon also, I think it was a $600 million contract that they received for the CIA and some of the backdoor databases, ERP type systems. Folks, we're funding our own demise. And it just reminds me of Own Nothing and Like It from the World Economic Forum. So if you think about it, universal basic income, but there'll probably be contingent rules of where you can spend that money, and it'll be guided by central bank digital currencies, again, programmable voucher. And you'll be able to spend your money in these 15-minute cities all in this cocoon. Flat out. I think one of the scariest beast system iconography slides, and if you're just listening, I'm showing, I think this is from the World Economic Forum, this digital identity map. And it goes between people, entities, devices, and things. And it's literally telling you that without your digital identity, you cannot have healthcare, or you cannot open up bank accounts with financial services. For farmers and food sustainability, everything's going to be tracked. They'll track things from seed to your mouth. Seeds right now are being tracked. They've tested it out with actually making marijuana available to the public. They're tracing every seed. Travel and mobility, to book trips, go through the border, control between countries or regions, you need your digital passport, my friends. To get on social platforms, for e-government, to be an e-citizen, to use services, file taxes, vote, collect benefits. You need your digital identity, folks. This is that grid, my friends. And then telecommunications. Ultimately, folks, you will be the cell phone. That's where they want to go. And Revelation 13, verse 16 through 17 is the classic, right? If you don't receive the mark in your right hand or in your forehead. If you don't have a right hand, you definitely have a forehead, then you can't buy or sell. That's where this whole thing's going. And so this is going to test our faith. How when the system comes in, and I think it'll probably happen, especially when the Antichrist discloses himself after the seal 4 has been open. I think that's going to be the timing of this, but we could also get slow rolled on this as well. And especially if it defiles your genome with this mRNA, CRISPR-Cas9, these vaccine pass points, that is a major key for this digital identity to defile you, to inject something in you. And we're going to have to make some hard decisions. We're going to have faith. We're going to have to be a joyful giver, my friends. We're going to have to pray for provision and guidance. It's going to be very, very interesting times. Now, I was going to actually do a separate VCast on this. It really rubbed me the wrong way. NASA mission to prevent internet apocalypse, which could leave people offline for months. So the Lord's been nudging me about how they're going to take the grid down, in bits. They're going to really make it just disrupt business, disrupt banking, disrupt everything. And when I read this, it just reminded me of what I've been hearing and reading and speculating, because to my flat earth friends, NASA is a joke. And if you actually check out some flat earth videos about NASA and the deception, it's over the top. I mean, they're faking everything, even faking launches with CGI. I mean, it is really eye-opening. And so all of a sudden, they're going to try to help us. They're going to try to help us to prevent the internet from going down. This just reminds me of planting seeds. If the internet goes down, what are the excuses? The excuses are Russia, hackers, right? And potentially a solar storm. So let's tie this all together. Let's go back to the Trilateral Commission, how they said free markets really are not going to be there. It's going to be more about policy. You think about universal basic income, provide universal basic income, especially if AI takes over 80% of the jobs in the next 10, 15 years. Well, universal basic income will have conditions. They'll have terms with programmable vouchers that are central bank digital currencies or coins. Centralized control over financial transactions, right? They just launched FedNow. That is going to be the intermediary between all transactions. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's a control grid, my friends. And then you throw in ESG rules, environmental social governance criteria that companies will be encouraged, if not forced, to follow. That'll be woke, that will be Luciferian, do as you will in nature, that will actually probably help destroy the environment because they're taking carbon dioxide out that we need. You can just see how this is going to help prime this mark of the beast system. And for companies that don't comply with all this sustainability and social responsibility nonsense, they will be kicked out. They won't be able to get loans, folks. They won't be able to accept central bank digital currencies. You can see where this playbook is going. So everything we just talked about, like why are corporations really still putting the gas on these woke policies? Why are they doing it? Well, because there's a new world order economic system that is going to be central bank digital currencies. That's going to be this whole universal basic income. And that's going to be this environmental social governance nonsense. And if you don't play, you probably don't get paid with these incentives from the government. You probably can't get loans. You probably, if you don't play with these ESG rules as a company, you probably won't be able to accept central bank digital currencies from universal basic income. That's why these corporations don't really care. It's a new model that they're trying to implement. So I want to play this video. And what I thought was interesting is the all-seeing eye here. You're telling you, my friends, let's roll it.
Put your money on ESG. Environmental, social, and governance, also called ESG, is a term used to represent the sustainable and ethical impacts of a company's corporate financial interests. While ethical, sustainable, and corporate governance are considered non-financial performance indicators, their role is to ensure accountability and systems to manage a corporation's impact, such as its carbon footprint or efforts towards diversity and inclusion. We'll cover what each ESG criteria entails, but you can read more about how CEOs are prioritizing sustainability by clicking the link above or in the description below. Each principle of ESG plays an integral role in the effort to increase focus on sustainable and ethical investments. Environmental factors focus on how much an organization considers the protection of natural resources. Examples include climate change, biodiversity, energy performance, air and water quality, and natural resource depletion. Social factors address how an organization treats people. Examples include global and local community relations, customer satisfaction, employee diversity, equity, and inclusion, employee engagement and relations, human rights and labor standards, and efforts to fund projects or institutions that will help poor and underserved communities. Governance factors examine how a corporation polices itself, with a focus on internal system controls and practices to maintain compliance. Examples include company leadership, board composition, including diversity and structure, whistleblower programs, executive compensation and policies, tax strategy, including audit committee structure, internal controls and regulatory policies, and donations and political lobbying. Do you consider ESG criteria or sustainability when making purchases or investment decisions? Leave your thoughts in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe too.